Namaste, I'm Jyoti. I'm the founder director of Ajanta Vihara Institute of Spiritual Sciences. In this series, I've been talking about trauma that comes from abusive relationship, romantic relationship, how love pains. Today, I'm going to talk about some of the case studies, very briefly touching upon how the pain that one experiences as being in love with a partner who is abusive physically, emotionally, verbally, or through their reactions and responses, through their silences, through their ignorance, through their neglect, manifests in us as physical health condition or emotional health condition. So a few years back, I had a client who came to me because she was referred by her doctor. She had multiple health conditions, but one of the major things that she was having was she kept getting a lot of skin allergies every now and then. And there were other health conditions which started, of course, after she was married. She was married for 20 years, 20 plus something years, and she came to me because this particular skin condition, the allergies were not going at all. And her doctor, who also believes in a lot of alternate therapies and especially believes a lot in my work, suggested that she comes and meets me. When she came here, she very strong, go-getter, professional, achiever, um, is has almost a picture perfect life. She came, she was like, I don't know what's the problem. I've got everything great going for me, but I don't know what's happening. I don't have these other health conditions only, but now I have this skin condition. It's very, very irritating because I'm not able to dress up the way I want to. I've got these bruises that keep coming up every now and then on my body in all parts, and I don't know where these bruises coming from. And I've got all my tests done and I can't find out what is there. And of course, when we started the work, we realized that she was not allowing her emotions to be processed in her relationship. Every time she had an argument with her partner, and she would suppress her anger, and she would suppress her need to be in her space. She wanted to be alone, but she would suppress, and because he had a need of spending time with her after the argument, or having some form of intimacy, could be physical or sexual or whatever, while she needed to be with herself, and she kept suppressing it for so many years. And finally, that trauma that was there, the anger that was there, started to manifest as these bruises on her body, because she was feeling bruised. She was feeling bruised because she was not being understood, she was not being held. He was not holding that space for her the way she wanted it, and it started to manifest as bruises. Now, in this case, of course, they couldn't find out what the condition was. When we started working on this, we realized that in her marriage, 20 years, not only this particular silent based kind of a treatment or neglect from her partner had resulted in this, but this was also a result of the triggers that were happening in her marriage, because there were things that are being reminded her of her inner child wounds. So as a child, she always carried a fear of abandonment because of coming from a dysfunctional family, and every time her husband neglected her needs, of being in that space to process herself, because that's how she had handled since childhood. She needed to be with herself, she needed to process. That fear of abandonment used to get activated, and as a result of that, her need to cling on to this relationship, need to cling on to him irrespective of what he was doing, was not right in her mind. She still allowed that to happen and kept adjusting to his moods, his needs, and not her. She completely lost touch with her needs, made his needs her center. And so it started finally to come out that as bruises. Had another case in which the woman came with severe period cramps. Her monthly cycle first was very disruptive, had become disruptive over the period of last 7 years. Had severe pain, could not even get up from the bed, and the worst was just before starting her periods, before starting her menstrual cycle, before starting her monthly cycle, she used to get into mood tantrum, and her anger would be so bad that she started to be violent in the sense not hitting somebody, but being very aggressive, very arrogant, throwing things, throwing tantrums, being very needy of people approving her this behavior. And she was like, I don't know what's happening. Maybe it's to do with I putting on weight, maybe it's to do with all this acne I've got on my face, this all pigmentation I have developed in last 6 and so we started to work together on that, and it was quite a long process because anything that starts to manifest on your skin is deep rooted, and it's not just coming from that relationship for sure is adding to it, but there are inner child wounds that need to be dealt with, and only hypnotherapy and energy therapy together can actually help you heal in a way that you completely change. You become a new person, so a part of you dies, a part of you is released, from who you are, who you want to be. You start to connect with your true potential and start to make that as your true self. So in this case also, when we started working, we realized that this is something she had carried from her mother's womb. And yeah, in energy therapy, hypnotherapy, we are able to take people all the way back to the womb. And if you're very energy sensitive and emotional person, you actually have very, very intense experience in the womb, sorry. And so it all started from her, for her in the womb, because mother had a lot of low self-esteem and so low self-worth. And it happened because mother had a mother who was very dominating in her mother's eyes. Her own mother was very dominating, which is this lady's grandmother. And so she was not very comfortable with herself as a woman, and she kept praying that that instead of a boy child, a girl child, she should have a boy child, just so that the girl child doesn't go through that suffering. Well, she had this lady, my client, and she carried that. She had very difficult growing up years. Puberty was very painful. Had a lot of acne, a lot of pimples, had a lot of eczema, had a lot of confusion about her sexuality. And eventually, she was able to sort all that out, get her life in order. This strong woman, ready to deal with everything, but could not function during her menstrual cycle all those 5 days, and would change into a completely different person, a very violent, very angry person. And when we started working on it, we realized that one relationship after other, there was a pattern that was forming for her, and that was seeking validation from her partner, not even realizing that she was seeking validation. She would go into taking extra care of them, paying their bills, being the provider, looking after them as they were babies, allowing them to walk all over her. Very different from how she was outside. And everything was okay. If the partner's refusing sex, it's okay. If a partner's ignoring her in the party, it's okay. We are two individuals, we like to give each other all that space, was her explanation. But she was in denial, and as we started to reconnect her with herself and understand why it was important for her to be authentic to her pain, her trauma, and how that's going to help her initiate her healing journey, she was able to recover from that. Both these women recover, and they are leading healthy life. They're inspiration to others. They're helping others also heal. I see many such kind of cases where trauma comes out in various different ways. I had a case about 8 9 years back where a woman could not get pregnant. In spite of IVF, she could not get pregnant. There was now no problem with her. She wanted a child. She desperately wanted a child. She was married for 10 years but still couldn't have it. And she says, I'm ready. I'm ready to quit my job. I'm ready to do everything, but she was not able to, and so finally she was referred to these therapies. And when she came, so sometimes, along with therapies, you also have to help a person with a lot of transpersonal coaching, where you help a person understand who they are, or why they are the way they are, and how the change can happen, transformation can happen, without them letting their current reality collapse, because none of us want to move out of that comfort space that we have built for ourselves. And of course that's possible. So in this case, of course, transpersonal coaching had to be combined with her energy therapy and hypnotherapy. Just a combination of it. Doesn't sound like too many therapies. No, it's a combination of it. And then we were able to work with her, and we realized that there was a deep rooted fear of losing her identity as a woman if she got pregnant, because that's what she saw her mom going through, her mother-in-law going through, her sisters going through, a lot of women around her going through, and that fear was not letting her get pregnant. That fear was creating a blockage. That fear was um, was building up so much of stagnant energy in her womb, in her genitals, in the whole process, and so in spite of consciously wanting it, she still couldn't get pregnant. And in most of the cases where women are not able to get pregnant, and even in cases like polycystic ovaries or issues with uterus, or urinary tract, or anything to do with your reproductive system, we have found in the therapies that it has a lot to do with self-esteem, self-worth, a lot of criticism, or a lot of taunting that they might have experienced as a as a child, lot of inferiority complex, maybe in comparing themselves to other pretty women in the house, or being told you're not that pretty as somebody else, or if you're dusky, you know how it is in India. So these are some of the cases I thought I'll share with you to let you know that healing is possible from anything and everything that you're going through. And don't give it up. Don't give up on yourself, and don't say it's just my destiny. And don't choose to just live with that pain. Don't choose to live with that trauma, that suffering. Um, and in case it's abuse, don't choose to live with abuse. Till next time, stay tuned in. Love and light.